My parents didn't really let me like have toys that were based off of characters like in movies or books or things, because they wanted me to develop my imagination. I'm from Australia. I was born in Cairns and I grew up in Brisbane, and then I moved to Sydney when I was 16 and moved to New York when I was 17. In school we always had to wear a uniform, so it was kind of irrelevant then. But I do remember one thing was like we had these high-waisted skirts and everyone used to be like really cool and like undo the zip and wear them down on their hips because it was like cooler. And I would always do mine up properly just because it like sat better. Well, they live in Tasmania now. My dad's a customs officer and my mum is retired, and she just lives out by herself on this like sick ass property in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't really have to see anyone ever, and she just like makes like toys and jewelry. And her place is all self-sufficient. Like she's got solar panels and water tanks and dams and vegetable gardens and fruit trees. She's like me, like she doesn't really pay attention to popular culture or anything like that. I got like scouted on the street and started modelling, and then it just happened. I've never eaten meat. I wasn't raised vegetarian, but like my mum is vegetarian and has been all my life, so she never cooked meat, and I never like actively sought it out. It's all about not being cruel really, and if my eating choices are putting someone else out, then it's cruel. Yeah, I like to experiment with stuff. I did art in high school and I went to school for set design for 1 year, but I'm not really like trained in anything that I actually practice now. I just like finding things that I think could be fun to play with and then seeing what I can do with them. I don't know what happens because my room's such a mess. I think that when people clean the apartment they just generally throw everything they don't know where it goes into my room, because that's probably where it came from and generally it is. So sometimes I just find stuff. I don't know, and I don't really buy much stuff ever. I usually only ever have one pair of shoes and then I wear them until I get to around this point, and then I get another pair. Well, I painted these shoes. What my friends like to refer to as my tie diaper. I got woken up by one of my friends came into my room and just jumped on my bed and told me that I had to get up because he wanted to go get coffee or something. So I did, and I was wearing this to sleep in, I think, and just underwear, and then I just like threw my coat on and went downstairs because I thought I'd just be getting a coffee. But then I ended up being out like all day and all night and didn't come home at all, and all I had was a coat, and it got kind of too hot to be wearing the coat, but I wasn't wearing anything except my underwear underneath. So I turned the coat into a skirt, which is something I do sometimes with my housemate's button-ups. And then he's all like, "Where's my denim shirt gone?" And I'm like, "Oh, you mean my skirt?" I kind of will just slightly change my outfit from one day to the next, so it's like an evolution. Like one day I might wear this and then the next day I'll wear this with a different jacket. It doesn't usually change that much one day to the next, but then if you maybe took a photo of my outfits like once a week, they'd be cool. I went to Little India one day and bought a bunch of those powders, and because you can do really like cool stuff with them, like if you mix them with just a little bit of water then they're like paint, or you can mix them with a lot of water and then they're like a dye. Like I use them to do all the tie-dyes and stuff. Then I actually googled them after like 4 months of being obsessed with them and found out that they're made of like heavy metals and asbestos and all these horrible things that I shouldn't really be exposing myself to daily. There's some of my friends that were around at that time, so I drew them. It'd be cool if I could just do art all day, every day. I get annoyed sometimes on shoots. I'm like, I could be at home doing my own stuff. I do like to read, but I don't really read as much as I should. I like kind of like science fiction-y stuff. Like I like Kurt Vonnegut a lot. Clockwork Orange. Slaughterhouse 5 is like the book that changed my life. If I'm doing something that's not something that I necessarily want to be doing, it's like, why bother suffering over it, because it's just the way that that moment is structured. I think that a good person is someone who their motivation for doing things come from a good place. It's not like they do things because of greed or because of anger or because of like jealousy and stuff like that. It's like they do stuff because it comes from a good place.